All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Huskers Happy Hour. There is a lovely evening shot of the Rose Bowl as taken by our own photographer, Stephen Bruce. And I'm here. John came in for a little bit last time. We had a little audio trouble. He may or may not be in tonight. We'll see. We'll see if he's under the weather or not. But we're going to go ahead and push on through even without him because that's what we do here, especially after we beat UCLA. UCLA, we win 28-21. Um, well, what to say here? It just did here we got another big lead and got it down to one score and hung on, and we've done that a few times, but it just felt a little happier this time. I guess we had Emmett Johnson running a little wild. uh, we had a really good performance, what I thought was a combination of a pretty much flawless performance by TJ Lateef and just the perfect game plan for a true freshman quarterback by Dana Holgerson. And I'll get into a little bit more into what I mean by that. It all went off well. The defense probably played a better game against USC. They allowed what was probably a quarterback's best game of the year by Nico Iamaleava. You got to see the Nico that took Tennessee to the college football playoff. I think let's see. I can split my screen here for a second, and I'll get some stats up. Da, 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 da. Let's see. We'll find something here. But he threw for something like, 190 yards, and he rushed for 86, but we sacked him three times. So I believe you have to tack on like the 18 yards from the sacks for his just true running plays, and I think he went for about 106 or something like that. So he really did have the best game a quarterback had. He threw up a decent number of yards in the air, but he also obviously ran on us. Whenever they had to have a play, they were giving it to Nico, or Nico was just taking that snap. It finally bit him in the ass on that 4th and 1, where because basically they'd just been snapping it to Nico. It looked like they just kind of had go to one side or the other, read the blocks, and then just do Nico things and go get a first down. And this time, the first side he moved to, we just swarmed over there. Somebody came in there, smacked him for like, I think a no gain at best, maybe a 1 yard loss, and that we finally stopped the guy on a 4th down. But geez, we gave up long drives in the first to them. We gave up long, we gave up long drive, that 96-yard drive in the second half. It wasn't pretty at times, but we seem to be instead of going forward every time we have a 4th and short, we're letting Archie pooch him down, get him down deep, and make them go the length of the field. And even though they did have that 96-yard drive, but they spent about 7 minutes doing it, so there was only 3-something left, and it allowed us to go actually do what we had to do to get a couple of first downs, and then we could just run out the clock. Before we get going here, let's go ahead and we've got the comments flying already. Everybody seems to be in a pretty good mood. We have a healthy roar from Pit Snipe. And then in tonight, Justin Rogie sneaks in and gets the first, and Fred Sacco is none too happy about it. So there you go, gentlemen. Charles Hullett announces that he is not first, and I guess technically he would have been about 4th, maybe, give or take. Call it 4th. I don't know. And then Pitt Snipe wants to start a fight. Hey, it's the bye week. I guess if you can keep the charges down to just a few nights in jail, take your shirts off and start swinging. We'll even have a little talk about what everybody's going to do during the bye week to pass the time, and I'll do it in the spirit of Mike Royko. And for those of you who don't know who Mike Royko is, we'll explain it to you. Fred seems to think Beetlejuicing John into the picture could happen. I'll keep an eye peeled for him, I promise. Let's see. And then, what do you see here? Have you all seen that TJ is up for the Manning Award this week? I'm assuming that's a weekly Manning Award. I wouldn't think you're getting a Manning Award. If that's an annual award, I wouldn't think you're getting a oh geez, how to put this? You're not getting nominated when you make your first start in week 10 or 11 or whatever it is. Dare Hund is here. Hopes to see John with us. Yeah, but we'll try and get Miley back too. She can give us a volleyball update. I know we're starting to get down to the wire there. And then Miley and I also took in some softball the last couple of weeks. We did not get any of the falls. I guess you'd call them. I don't know, scrimmages. I mean, they're playing them like real games. But then I went to one or two of them. She went to one of them of the intra squad scrimmages, the Scarlet versus the Cream, and you will see. But you just see people switching teams. The last game, they actually had three of their pitchers each throw a full inning, like a full inning for both teams. Like pitching the top and the bottom, the first, and the next pitcher came in. So I think we had Hannah Camenzind, Emerson Cope, and Kylie McGee each throw just a full inning, and then Alexis Jensen, the freshman from Gretna, who is I believe, going to step right into the number 2 spot behind Jordy, which was a real juggling act last year. Let's just put it this way. And so, we caught that. It was a nice evening. Temperatures probably in the 40s, 50s. No wind though, so the players were pretty comfortable out there running around. Anyway, this isn't in a Husker. Well, it's just Huskers Happy Hour. We can talk about whatever damn sport we want, but that's what we've been doing. So maybe I can get her to talk about that a little. I'm gonna see if I can get Jarek, our basketball guy. I know I've been ignoring basketball. We'll see if we can get Jarek in to give us an update, which I think right now is just we're kicking the shit out of literally teams I've never heard of. Nebraska played. My family, both sides, come from Georgia. And I'd never known there was a West Georgia University until Nebraska played them last week. And then there was another school. I saw somebody, maybe this was Georgia who played them because they're probably close by. I just saw a green logo that said Upstate. I'm like, Upstate. And it is. There's a South Carolina Upstate University or something like that. So wonderful. This is who teams play. You think football's mean about playing 1AA. Basketball will, it was a practice game, but Nebraska played Midland, and Midland competed for a few minutes, and everybody lost their minds. Let's see. Whoa, somebody put Red Bull into his Pit Spartans. And it was his response to the old bastard. Repeat twice. Der Hund is a Red Bull fan. Justin Rogie is just flush with love for Nebraska. Go Big Red. Let's see what else we got. Yeah, Nico. James Wardenman pointed out Nico is their only offense. I would say, who is it? They had one receiver, and I believe they hit him quite a bit. I remember they didn't really hit Jalen Berger a lot. I think it was Robert Frias who only had 17 catches going into the game, and Nico hit him quite a few times. Yeah, they really didn't have much of a rush game outside of Nico. He is their leading rusher, and it's not like between Taylor Martinez and Adrian Martinez, and then but did Harburg lead us in rushing? I mean, it seemed for about 7 out of 10 years the quarterback led us in rushing. So we can't really make fun of others when the quarterback's their only offense. Let's see. We got a lot of people giving it up for Happy Veterans Day. Fitty says we have 13 hours. Okay, this must be like a weekly fan vote. We have 13 hours to vote for TJ for the Manning Award. He is currently in first place, 45. If Husker fans know how to do anything, it's how to go out there and win an online fan poll. I'm sure I'm not alone. I'll never forget Kirk Herbstreit losing his mind when they did the big greatest team of all time, and it was just supposed to be like it was between the end of the regular season and the championship game, and I think it was the one where Southern Cal got upset by Texas, but they were 12-0, and everybody was saying they're better than the '95 Nebraska team, and they're the greatest team of all time. So they're doing this poll solely to crown Southern Cal as the greatest team of all time before the whichever bowl that was. Was that a Rose Bowl, Sugar Bowl? Maybe it was a Fiesta Bowl, I think. But and then the Husker fans came in, and the '71 team and the '95 team were both in there. If they'd have just put them on the same side of the bracket, that thing would have been over. The best they would have done is play in the semis, but now they had them on opposite sides. Of course, it came down to '95, and I think in the semis, it might have been the '71 team playing what one of the best Ohio State teams was. And yeah, and Kirk just makes all these threats, like drowning himself or leaving the country if Nebraska beats Ohio State, which they did. And each time they'd both win. He'd get a little angrier, and it got to the point where even Lou Holtz is roasting him because he is just, this is ridiculous. Anybody can go in there and vote over and over again. And Chris Fowler said, "Don't they have the internet in Ohio?" And then just shut up. It was really funny because usually Kirk's the one laughing along with every. I like Kirk. He's the one laughing along with everything, doing his best not to play favorites, but he just melted down that night, and it seemed like a pretty genuine meltdown, which just made it even funnier. Let's see here. Hold on just a moment. Okay, I'm trying headphones for the first time so that not as much outside sound bounces back into the mic, which might have been part of John's problem last week. See, I think I know football okay. This podcast shit. I just started off. I remember with the old iPad, the little iPad camera on the iPad, and the little iPad mic, and that wasn't good enough anymore. So I got a camera that had a mic, and even that screwed up sometimes. Like you guys are like, Andy, you're echoing, and I'd go back, switch it back, and back and forth. So now I've got a camera, I've got a little mic here. I've got headphones to hopefully take care of what that will do is when the person if I have a guest on like Miley or John, then when they talk back, supposedly that's what'll start like goofing things up, is that sound is going right back into the mic because it's coming out into the room out of the iPad itself. So we'll see how it works when I get somebody else in here. Anyway, but yeah, go look for TJ. I love TJ. And what's funny is we've already got the quarterback controversy going, and it's only with fans. Like the coaches, Dylan, TJ, all know where they're at. Dylan's a sweetheart of a kid. A lot of guys don't know that. They're too busy like making fun of his hair. He is just one of the most team dedicated, sweetest guys. TJ's the same way. They're like big brother, little brother. And the first thing TJ did when they started interviewing him was like, I don't even remember what the question was, but he was just, obviously Dylan wanted to go to LA to help him out really bad. And so first thing TJ started talking about was Dylan's injury. He said, "Hey man, that is my big brother out there, and I just hope he gets better." And man, this team really is a together team. What rule? Beginning of the year, I remember I said this because the players are saying there's a brotherhood here, there's a tightness here, a togetherness here that hasn't been here really before. And when we get in some of these one-score games, it's like says this we really believe this is what will carry us through and get us back from that, the old start playing not to lose bugaboo that makes the doom come true. And so far, I'm kind of seeing that. What I think this game brings us to six one-score games this year, and we're 4-2. It's with some of the stuff that obviously didn't start with the team with this staff, but it carried with him hard because I think rules like 1-7 or 1-8 in his first. The only way he won games was by 2 touchdowns or more, and now we're winning those one-score games. We're winning games in the fourth quarter. This was the one-score game that didn't quite go that way. One thing I said we'd miss. Tell you what, we'll have the whole TJ Dillon thing in a bit. Let me run through the rest of the comments. There won't be as much stuff. I'm not going to preview Penn State this week since we're on the bye. I'll just run through some of the numbers from the last game, and then we're just going to have some fun. It's the bye week, damn it. So let's start. Let's see what else we got. See if everybody's chatting away here. I think we just got a lot of chatting away, which is great. You guys chat away. I'm mad at Miley. She's too cool for us. I'm so bad. I've got to get my, I've been told they've got to send out the wedding invites in December, but she's hitting me every week, and I've got kind of a list done. Um, and she wanted the list and everybody's addresses yesterday. So I've just got to get that done this week. I'm going to swear I'll get it to her by the weekend, and she's going to be a little grumpy about it. So probably best we don't have Miley on tonight. Sorry, but I will inform her for Pitt that she is too cool for us. She'll get a kick out of that. She'll get mad. It'll be funny. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not really sure if is it something they just vote on each week. I'm guessing. I don't know. I just saw get in and vote. Um, let's see what else we got. It's okay. Here he goes for Danny Manning's Jayhawks lost to the Huskers. Oh my God, we watched that game. I think that was the one we watched at Chesterfield's. It used to be the basement bar there, kind of downtown Lincoln on the campus side, and yeah, beat Kansas. And all I remember is one word. Bo Reed hit a three to go ahead. Manning tries to push it up the court himself, dribbles it off his leg. Huskers win the game. We're just celebrating. A lot of people go home, and about an hour and a half after the game, here come Danny and the wife into Chesterfield's standing ovation, and Danny he goes around to all the tables, shakes everybody's hand, thanks them for supporting the team. But just a really cool evening. So yeah, I remember that one. And then Kansas goes on to win the title. So that, and I was kind of pushing for that because I'm like, oh yeah, I guess you just beat the last team to beat the national champs. These guys. So did anyone see? I wish I'd thought that I'd take the photo or take a snap of it and put it. Somebody and people got bent out of shape. I thought it was kind of funny, but but it was more of those like, hey, this isn't real. But somebody put up there, hey, Nebraska at the Nebraska Creighton game, Nebraska is going to like roll down the banner and present the trophy for winning. What was it? The cup, or not the cup, the crown. They're gonna get like present the crown trophy or whatever. And I just thought, if that's true, that Creighton would get so bit out of shape, would just be ripping it, ridiculing it, and we would just get the biggest laugh. And I think somebody popped it up there and made a comment, and Amy Just from the Lincoln paper would is like, this is not real, guys. And I could picture her saying that, and I got a big kick out of that. Yeah, really. When somebody takes something and runs with it, and it's complete bullshit. Sometimes it's not always funny. And now this one I found funny too, but I did sympathize a little when somebody put out there, because I thought this was like the weirdest thing I'd ever heard. It was just a few weeks ago, Steve Sarkisian, somebody put out there that he had told his agent to actively seek NFL jobs for him. And this is like halfway. This is like when they're still like 3-2 or 4-2 and maybe out of the rankings. And Steve blew a bit of a gasket. Like, he actually had like started his next post game press conference, or maybe his weekly press conference, whatever, with saying, "I can't believe I've got to say this. That's crazy. I would not be looking. I'm not looking for an NFL job. B, I wouldn't be announcing it in the middle of a season." He just said, "I can't believe I actually have to have my agent put out a statement." So yeah, but I would love like unfurling a crown banner. It's like, because we were having so much fun just tweeting stuff like, what are the only two teams that finished the basketball season undefeated? Whoever won the NCAA title, and your crown champs, baby. Big kicks, good times. So yeah, very nice, as Borat would say. And James. Okay. First of all, let's see. There might be trouble here. Let's sound the siren just in case, because we might have a James Boardman misdemeanor here, because I believe he is currently trespassing on Fred Sacco property. I thought Camp Kenosha won the Bend Over Award. So now the thing is, you're fine as long as if Fred allows it, and doesn't trespass you, then you're good to go. But we shall see. Okay, let's see. The Manning Award is an annual football award given to the top quarterback. Is it a voted upon award? Because I thought there was an annual Manning Award. I didn't think you just got to have Vans vote for it with like 3 weeks to go and nominate a quarterback who started one game. We'll see. Yeah. For quarterbacks with big foreheads. For those of you that saw it was at the Rob Lowe roast, a couple of years ago, which was fantastic, and Peyton Manning was one of the roasters, and I think it was Pete Davis. I mean, he laid in. Everybody lays into each other, but he got Manning. He goes, Peyton Manning is what football players would look like if they didn't wear helmets. And Manning couldn't help but giggle at that one. Let's see. Okay, so here we go. South Carolina Upstate used to be South Carolina Spartanburg. Okay. Yeah, Spartanburg, I know. We moved here from Asheville, North Carolina, so we knew all the big old towns in South Carolina. Let's see. Yeah, TJ is wonderful, but not up for the Manning. That just sounds like a weekly QB thing. What was this? I thought Herbie was going to attack Lou Holtz when he said our 71 and 95 teams were. Yeah, Herbie was just losing his mind that night, and it's still on YouTube, I'm sure. Let's see. Yeah, Herbie was about to grab him by the neck. He got pissed. Rich Glover was only 270 pounds. Yeah. Well, the thing is, anytime you do one of those, you just have to go with how dominant they were for their era. Like if there's probably teams now, here in 2026, that if they played 95 Nebraska, it's a whip. I don't know about a whipping, but it's a win. Because think about that. How do you think this would be like saying, how would 95 Nebraska have done against 65 Notre Dame or 66 Michigan State and Bubba Smith? There's obviously going to be some size differentials in that. Let's see. Andy needs to wear the headphones and tap into Donovan's headset and tell the O-line to fucking block. Oh, you mean the O-line that's only allowed 2 sacks in the last 3 games? The O-line who's blocking for a guy that now we're trying to push into the Heisman conversation because he's got more yards from scrimmage than anybody? Is it that O-line? They're not doing. Minnesota was a long time ago. That was another world. And they're doing that with an O-line whose tackles are falling off like the Hawkeye and Trappers are cutting into them right now and telling them they're done for the war. So yeah, yeah. So Pitt says I've sounded good, a little suppressed, but not much. Good. If it sounds a little cleaner for you guys, great. I think the difference is going to be when I go on somebody else's show, which is a problem. I was on Voice of the College Football podcast a few times, but then the last time I was on, I was echoing into his studio, and he was literally having to mute himself and let me go for a while, and then mute me and do his response. And so I should be going back on there tomorrow night because it sounds like things are getting along. Vince is giving me the high-tech Andy. Woohoo! Yeah. I tell you what, I had to walk a little distance a couple nights ago, and yeah, it just got a little chilly that night. Let's see. More harassment for going high tech with headphones. Yeah, right now I'm getting used to it. So I kind of sound a little bubbly in my own head here. So I was just assuming it's sounding all right for you guys. And my ears are very warm right now. I haven't even tried them with music yet. So I'm looking to, I was just making sure. I was having a little trouble getting them linked or paired up here. So that happened. And so, yeah, after this is over, we're gonna rock a few tunes and see how they sound. Pit Snipe, here we go. Dylan is great. It's sad we can't put together a pass blocking line, and that is what gives TJ an advantage. Really not Dylan's fault. I'll tell you this, TJ wasn't really threatened. I saw there was a couple times where the rush really came hard, a little blitz, and he stepped up. But for the most part, he had time to stand there and throw. And part of the thing was it was all but about 2 passes were pretty quick throws. I would say there were 2 passes that he threw over 7 yards, the wheel route to Emmett. And if you want to hear me bitch and moan, I've been wanting that wheel route all year long because I saw it first in spring ball, and Dylan was just dropping rainbows, and there wasn't, and you had linebackers and safeties trying to cover Emmett. Couldn't do it. And it's just like one-on-one drills on the wheel route, and he is just blowing by people. One little move, he's gone, and curling outside down that sideline, boom, in stride, and then it saw it a couple more times in fall ball, and I'd kind of, I guess, forgotten about it. And then I see him do it with TJ in there. TJ, yeah, puts it on the money. And I'm like, where's this been? Because it was my theory that he can't be stopped on the wheel route. And maybe we're just saving it for Penn State and Iowa. And you're going to see some different defense there than you saw with UCLA, by the way. But anyway, yes, I was a little like, but I don't think it was, hey, we blocked harder for TJ. It was Matt Rule's point, like his kind of talking point, and the players were very much into it, was everybody just do everything you do a little bit better and give TJ the best chance for success. And that's what they did is that I just thought that was what happened, was everybody just did it a little bit better. My God, the receiver blocking, Isaiah was just murdering people. Luke Lindenmeyer, he didn't have that great of a game, but he popped some people. Dane Key was out there, and I mean they were driving the legs. If they had done that to a little bit harder, and I think they got him pretty good with Southern Cal, you would have seen like 2 or 3 more fights break out, because USC is a team that doesn't enjoy being pressured, doesn't like it when you get physical with them so much. Or at least that's the impression I got in our game. I mean, I don't know what the hell happened when they emptied their bench, and here's Nebraska standing around. Nobody's leaving Nebraska's sidelines. They're shoving back a little if they got touched, but here's just a good chunk of them just going crazy trying to get by coaches and let me at them, and I'm like, what the fuck just happened? I think the first fight started when we scored, and then here comes a scuffle on after the extra point, and like, is it that easy to get to you? But I don't know. The blocking by the wide receivers was incredible. Let's see. Yeah, Thanksgiving at the Raiola household, and he would think Dominic is beating Donovan with a turkey. Like, what the fuck did you do to my kid? Or we could just outlaw the hip drop tackle in college too. If it's too dangerous for the NFL, probably had to get rid of it in college, because that's what that was. Just jumped up, did the hip drag. It's legal. Some Southern Cal fans got really upset, and somebody just pointed out and even said, "I know it's legal, but we've really got to get rid of that." And, oh, stop bitching. Wow, it was perfectly fine. And he's like, "Yeah, that's why I said it was okay. I didn't say." Yeah, he didn't say Southern Cal was being dirty. He just said it's a dirty tackle and ought to be outlawed. But he didn't and it's illegal, and you should have been penalized. And it's why he did none of that. So he was like, "Yeah, settle down. I just said it. I think it needs to go." But yes, because our quarterback did get injured. Yeah. Please, little 6-pound, 4-ounce baby Jesus, let me get an invite to Miley's wedding. I don't know. We'll see about that. I'll let her see if she'll let me just put out a blanket invite to all the listeners of the Huskers Happy Hour and just see what fresh hell that unleashes. I'll probably I'm part of the hook for that damage deposit, so let's not do that. Let's see. Kind of skipping up a little here. Fred, no, I think I didn't see yours, but I think I think James got the Kenosha joke in first, so that's up to you if you want to formally trespass him. I can't send the cops in to solicit a trespass from you. You need to volunteer that. I love watching angry Karen videos when they're yelling at those people that would just like to go out and film on the sidewalk. Let's see. Yes, the offensive line that Holgerson coached around to have success versus UCLA. Yeah, I don't think that tackles, they let a couple get by at the end, but it wasn't where it just collapsed the whole pocket like it was doing against Michigan, like it did against Minnesota. It was a much more solid pocket. Now, to be fair, come on now, UCLA just got done getting 56 dropped on him by Indiana. So, but I have seen improvement in the offensive line the last few weeks. And I'm telling you what, the middle of that line, Evans and Lutovsky and Rocco, man, it is UCLA, but they were punishing dudes. They had one shot of Pritchett where he did. I mean, he looked like he got like, for giving our 95 pipeline play of the week. He he ran this dude back like 5 yards and pancaked him and did it all in one move this time. Ran him over. Just ran him, fell on him, and he didn't like knock him down and then do the flying Jablonski on him or whatever this time. So it was the way it should be done. You can tell that this is a guy who's made improvements by leaps and bounds this year. Is Elijah Pritchett. They were not happy with him early in the year. You could hear the coaches. Because when Donovan would come out came out once in the preseason, the position coaches out. Now it's just rule on Monday, coordinators and players on Tuesday, and they're in that rhythm, except for today because of the bye week. You had Holgerson, you had Donovan not happy with Pritchett early on, and they were saying he's just committing too many penalties in practice. And what happened in the first game? He committed that penalty on the 1 yard line. He false started. He false started again. He had problems, and now it seems those are behind him, and we're seeing the 4-star, 5-star guys starting to come out of the shell now. So they're very happy to see that. And Holgerson was saying, I believe it was last week, Holgerson was just talking about how thrilled he is with Elijah now, and this was before the UCLA game. Said he's doing everything that's asked of him. It's always good when I hate to say buying in, because that makes it sound like you're fighting the team, and usually you're there physically and mentally. It's just frustrating you, and it's something that when you blow through it, it's the best feeling in the world. If you can't tell, it happened for me a few times in my Class D sports career. But it's the best feeling. And then, because it's just like it's almost like I call it when the light goes on. When you finally just stop thinking about it, just start going for it, and then you're doing it right because you're not thinking about it. And hey, what happened? How I do that? You just get this caveman, and you come sounds like, I can't believe this worked now. Andy's so happy. So I think the light came on for Elijah, and now without worrying about what he's doing, just doing it, he was out there trucking some guys, and it was fun to see. But now, will it be as easy against Penn State and Iowa? Penn State almost beat Indiana, man, and held that offense down. Now, granted, Indiana I think was missing like their top 3 receivers, and they lost another one, and then the dude who's like second on the depth chart. That one of them just makes the catch of the season, maybe of the decade. If you didn't see the game-winning catch he made against, it looks like he's kind of floating out of bounds. The ball's just going to carry him out of bounds. He goes up and elevates to make the catch. That in itself is incredible. And then somehow stops momentum and suspends gravity to move his feet backwards, gets both feet down just barely, and game-winning touchdown. Something else. It's one of those things you see. It's like, God, this is why I love college football. It just doesn't have to be the Huskers or the Dogs or whoever, or the teams I hate, and I love seeing them lose. Sometimes it's just I can get into a game just to get into a damn game, and that the finish of that one was something else. If you haven't seen it, I'm pretty sure it's just Penn State, Indiana, the catch or something like that. Will get you where you need to go on TikTok or YouTube. Oh God, I'm already. Oh God, Fred, we're not even into the first drink fully down yet, are we? Yeah, maybe some people drinking fast. I've got the Propel and I've got a little bit of Sailor freshening up my Coke Zero there, so I'm all set. All right, let's see here. TJ made the O-line look good. I don't know if I'd go with that. I think the O-line made TJ look good. TJ didn't have to run for his life. He scrambled once, twice. I think the other runs were designed runs, and he was throwing from. He could stay in the pocket and throw from the pocket. I would say maybe Dana did a little bit, a lot, definitely. And the thing is, if you go back, I think it played exactly how I thought it would play. They gamed it as exactly how I thought they game it. And the picks are our picks against the spread, that sort of thing. Because I said it's like Emmett is going to carry the water. I don't think I'm be Thomas Einstein or Albert Edison there, because you knew they'd ride Emmett, and I thought they'd limit TJ's touches. They did. He only threw it 15 times. He only ran it 6 times, and I think only 2 of those were escapes. I loved the first play being a TJ keeper up the middle, and he takes it 13, 14 yards. And right away, you've got a UCLA team on their heels because they thought they were probably going to get 8 straight carries out of Emmett to start the game. So those were great calls. All the passes were quick slants, outs, screens. In the first half, I believe he threw for like 100 and maybe 20 or 30 yards, and like 105 of those were runs after catch or yards after the catch. Yeah, he finished with 215, I think 140 or something like that were the yards after catch. And I swear, I think, because Emmett's 56-yard touchdown catch was, I think he ran that 56 yards, maybe 57. But then the 40, like the wheel route, that was a deeper ball. I think, that was 20-something yards, and then he ran it in. And then this was my favorite call of the night, because I tweet out, but when we get the ball, I said, there's 3-something left. Are we just going to ram it into the line 3 times, punt it back to him, and hope we can stop him after giving up a 96-yard drive, or will we let the freshman throw a pass or 2? And he did. It's like, here goes, I think, Emmett for like 2 runs and a first down, and then here, boom, TJ maybe hit Emmett for like 6. I can't remember that one specifically, but I know he hit Emmett for a short one, and then they roll him out right, and they were just looking for another short one. That one's covered. You can see him, boom, check, and because then the deep curl or the deep out behind that is Hunter, and boom, he looks, there he is, 7, and hits him for 17 yards, and I think that was about it. At that point, was maybe we ran. I think we ran Emmett a couple more times to get another first down, and then they had the timeout, or they were out of timeouts, and we were like a minute 50 or something, so we could just truck it on down. If I got that wrong by a little bit, don't worry about correcting. I admit I can't remember the exact yardage there. Let's see. Everybody's saying I came hard, as in myself, and then other people are also coming hard. So it really is the Husker Happy Hour. Who cares if you play it as a team game or solo? What else? Guys have been busy right out of the gate. I love it. Wait a minute, I see it. Dana calls or Dylan checks into 5-7 step drops. I don't think you really check into. I don't think he drops that deep. But those calls are pretty much Dana's. When Dylan checks, it's mostly to like a short pass or just running it. I don't think he gets cute enough to check himself into a lot of deep balls. And if he does, he's still not getting super deep in the pocket. But I agree. It's a good question. Oh, Andy, don't do that. These guys are nuts. I'm the only normal one here. Also, Fred's trying to say there's nothing wrong with him, and get the Triple H wedding invite. No. Nope. And here goes Pitt. No, fuck these guys except Sack. Just me. I'll get an invite to the wedding. I can't vouch for these animals. I'm just going to tell Miley I'm going to read some more of these, I think. I know I skipped some earlier, and I'll just say read some of these because I might have to invite 30 or 40 more people, which I think is about twice what I'm allowed. I'm the dad, and I'm being put on a limit. That's bullshit. Let's see. Our run plays were interior for the most part. Our pass plays were quicker screens or stuff that scared the D into backing off coverage. But we did bounce some outside. I think that's really dangerous. Is he is so effective. We're so effective getting in those quick holes and watching some of those shots from behind that I've seen like after games is they open those interior holes for like a split second, and Emmett is through them. And then he is in the second level there in the linebacker level, and he's just shifting around. So that rule for I think the third straight week got the okay, are we giving Emmett too many touches? Are we beating him up too much? And watch it. He's right. He says Emmett doesn't. He got hit hard a couple of times this game, but not often. As much as he runs in the middle, he is just so shifty, and he will just make the little dart left, dart right, dart left, and then boom, and then he's 3 steps forward again before you blink. So they're grabbing a hold of him. They are not bashing into him. Like who got bashed into in the running up the middle, and he was as he's one of the best Husker running backs ever, and he also had a fumble problem. I think he led the NCAA in lost fumbles his junior and senior year, like it was 5 or 6 or 7, somewhere in there. But it was Amir Abdullah, and because they said he didn't have like the greatest peripheral vision at times in the middle, and then you'd just get him like he'd somebody just take a run from the side, and he wouldn't see it coming, and boom, and there goes the ball. And I think it worked out for him. What he's he's still getting touches and returning kicks and stuff for the Raiders now, I believe. What is this, about his 10th season? Yeah, it worked out fine for Amir Abdullah. And as much as gross as it is to have to say this, just think how much worse we'd remember certain aspects of a certain Husker team had he not made that play and we had lost to McNeese State. I think it was McNeese State, right? Where he had that one where he basically broke, I think, tackles on 8 of the 11 defenders for McNeese with 40-something seconds left and took it to the house for the winning score. That would have been some embarrassing shit. That would have been embarrassing. It's like I say, I give the same award to Sam Keller, because otherwise, who was it we played? And they had a really good quarterback that like threw for 390 yards or something. And I think that's the game that Keller still might be second to Joe Gans on the single game passing yardage, because shit, it wasn't Austin P. But it was a lower end like MAC school, and Keller threw for like 425 yards, a pile of touchdowns, and we win something like 46-42 or something like that against a team that we should be beating, 46-3. And so, yeah, so total sidetrack, but many thanks to Sam Keller and Amir Abdullah. Thank you for your service, gentlemen. Let's see. I am not going to read that, Fred. I'm not going to read that either. Let's see. And we're just making a lot of Pritchett comments that don't need to be read. Okay, let's see. Hold on. Uh-oh. We got a troll coming in hot. One game against an unranked UCLA game. I think he meant UCLA team. But yeah, so there's one game against an unranked UCLA game or team. Who else came in and played a game against an unranked UCLA team and lost? Penn State. Yeah. UCLA's had a few games. I thought we'd be getting a UCLA that was a little softened out after the Indiana game. Yeah, like I said, it was a 20-21 game, but we had some highlights. Everybody's happy. The offense looked more like what Holgerson does more than anything we've seen prior to UCLA. Kind of telling, if you ask me. And somebody suggested that Dylan can't make those quick throws, and I'm like, no, those throws are in there because it was like best chance for guys to get open quick, low interception risk, that sort of thing. And absolutely, I'm not saying that it's not a slight in any way against TJ. It's the kind of game you call to give him confidence, give him a successful start. We don't want TJ coming out of the UCLA game with a few mistakes in his head before Penn State and Iowa. And for people who are already like proclaiming him next year's Heisman winner, all I've done is said, let's wait till we see him in the next two games. It's not going to be as easy, but they might open it up a little more for him here and there, and because he showed good decision making. Like I said, I love that. I love that check down back to Hunter for 17 there. That was for me his best play of the game. Let's see. Yeah, we've got Joel Tilson. Yeah, you got a lot of talk like this now. TJ's better than Raiola Mahomes. But notice how no one was saying that after the Southern Cal game. But now it's like it went from then to, oh my God, he sucks, to, and it's like, no, he doesn't suck, to now he's one of the best quarterbacks in the country. No, not yet. It's let it play. Just let it play out. Let's see. The biggest difference, Dylan is playing the role of being a QB. TJ actually just played QB. Like I said, this was a game where, and I said he's not going. He can't really win the game for us, but he could lose it. Call it accordingly. Give him some plays he can make. Yeah, your big guy doesn't just your big guy under center doesn't just get 20, 21 touches in a game. So just saying, take that. Oh wait, Rodney wants to reiterate his point that we played one game against an unranked UCLA team. Let's see, take it away, Rodney. One game against an unranked UCLA team. Give me a break. And they want to just give a Heisman to a guy. Fuck off, whoppy, fucky do. Okay. What I wonder, dude. Now, does it start out the fucks, or are you guys putting in the stars? But yeah, well, yeah, I don't think they want to give him the Heisman because just the UCLA game, dude. He's leading the country in all-purpose yards. He's second in the country in rushing yards. He's the only here. Maybe do this now. I wonder if I've got this one set up. Hold on here. We'll go ahead and give you. Where's my little OtterBox? And hold on with just a moment here. I just love how this is the transcription service, and it can get kind of funny. And especially Rule, who's not super loud, talks fast, is even worse than me at going on tangents. But let's see, let me find here. He got on a little roll about just what where yeah, and look, nobody knew about this forever. Okay, here we go. Now I know what I'm looking for. Yeah, I sit there and I can just go, I've usually got notes of what's the time on the transcription, so I can go in and find stuff and write about it or whatever. So let's see. Leading the nation, 1,431 yards from scrimmage in 10 games. Ranked second in FBS in total rushing yards at 150, and then at 115 yards per game. He leads the nation in percentage of his team's total yards at 37.1%. The only other player over or near 30 is Jeremiah Love, the fantastic Notre Dame running back, who's at 29.6. Let's see, he is the one of only three players in D1 with at least 10 rushing touchdowns and 3 receiving touchdowns. He is the only running back in the Power 4 that has 4 100-yard rushing games in conference play. Just in case, they're just doing it because of UCLA. That's his 4th 100-yard rushing game in Big Ten play. No, nobody else has done that. And so yeah, it's not just UCLA, dude. Let's see. That's he's a Doak Walker finalist now. He's a Doak Walker nominee, not a finalist. I get ahead of myself, but he's going to be there. And let's see, he has 14 touchdowns. I believe that's tied for 4th in the country. And that is the most touchdowns of any Husker since Amir Abdullah in 2014. And he is the first. And these record, I love when they get the weird stats, like this many yards doing this many yards doing that, and like four different statistical categories. But here you go. They started doing this in '95, so he's the first person since at least 1995, to have more than 125 rushing yards, 100 receiving yards, a rushing touchdown, and 2 receiving touchdowns in the same game. He is the first player in Nebraska history to have 100 yards rushing and 100 yards receiving in the same game. Okay, so it's against unranked UCLA. If it's so damn easy, there's been 100 years of somebody else to do it. So against anybody, be my guest. Let's see, but yeah, that was pretty much it. He is just among the leaders in freaking everything nationally right now. So, whoops, that's not where I wanted you. Did I lose you guys? I hope not. I'm back. Hopefully, I'm back. Damn it! All right, let's see. Let's slide. Nope. I'm just trying to get this back on my main screen here. There we go. All right. Let me go down to the bottom, see if I went deaf. No, I didn't. I'm apparently still kicking it. But anyway, yeah. Thanks, Rodney, for letting us know a couple of times that it was against an unranked UCLA team. Here we go. Adam Lamparello, and you were going to get a hair comment. And this is one of the reasons I think that you got a guy who is like the team leader. You saw it when he got hurt, and this is when they only thought it was an ankle injury and not a broken leg. And that was the guy with a broken leg that needed surgery, hopping around, trying to get back into the game. But here it is. Raiola cares more about his hair and looks than football. He is done. Latif is the savior. Let's see what else we got. Adam's got a lot more too. It's like best ever Turner Gill. Oh geez. So I should have a poll. I didn't put it in the poll this week. You'll see it. You'll see it tomorrow, or I should get it back tomorrow so I can put it out there on the website for you guys. But I should have a poll. Who's wasting too much time on their hair? Dylan Raiola or TJ Latif? Come on, it's not like TJ's got your Sarge haircut. Oh, geez. Fuzero is going with the rhymes. Latif gonna make him queef. Oh god, I got to get to the bottom so we can run through the numbers. So if I skip some stuff here, it's because you guys are doing too well. And here's something I'm gonna talk about this probably at the end sometime. But Rule's press conference was a master class in recruiting, excusing them. Yeah, not just excusing the money, like owning it up. And hey, he's finally, and he's putting it on himself. He says there's nothing else for me now to be going and begging Troy for this. And Troy, we need this. Troy, need that. He goes, we've got everything. I'm sure something else will come up, but he's like, we've got that. He just owns it. He's like, it's just part of the game now. It's like, hey, I'm so sorry that some people are hurt because the players who people show up to watch and spend get billions of dollars spent on are getting paid. It's painful. But he walks in and owns it. We're taking care of our guys. It's like, and we'll talk about it later because I want to get everybody in on this. But yeah, that is he owns it. You know what? If you want to watch a team that's been on a slow slide since that stuff hit, and I will tell you the reason. It's because he's kind of an ass anyway. Not as bad as Brian Kelly, but Dabo Swinney, and won't shut up about how the players should be happy with a scholarship while everyone else around, gets to split the billions. They should be happy with a scholarship, and they shouldn't be able to transfer. He should be able to control their scholastic lives, even though no one else, no other student on campus can be told, where he can and can't transfer to. And what has happened to Clemson? They have gone from national championships and it's been a slow slide because, he's a winner, so he's still able to recruit. But, last year they made the playoffs because he won the ACC championship game, but was ranked 17th. So that was the only way he was getting in. And I think he just got back to 4-4. or 4-5, something like that. But and they played. It was the battle of the. Oh my God, we can't believe how bad we overrated these guys to start this season. Because you had Clemson start at 4. They've been out of the rankings for a while, and I think they're around 500 because they beat Florida State, who they ranked high, even though they were like won 2 games the year before. They ranked them, and then they destroyed Alabama, and then have just been in free fall. And now Mike Norvell's gone from, hey, I saved us, we crushed Alabama, to I might get fired anyway. This is college football now, man. It's parity. You can't just stockpile all the players and not let them leave, or let them leave across the country where they can't beat you. These guys who don't develop quickly enough for Nick Saban will leave and go find a place they can play, like Elijah Pritchett. So anyway, tell you what, I'm just going to the bottom, and we're going to do this stuff. Thank you, though. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. So got all excited, dancing around looking for stuff. So here's our drive chart. We scored on our first. We only got 3 possessions in the first half. Our defense did give up some long drives, but let's see. We go 61 yards in 9 plays, touchdown. Goes 75 yards in 4 plays. I believe that was the screen pass to Emmett, the 56-yarder, touchdown. 9 plays in 60 yards, touchdown, and then we get the ball back, take a knee at the half. Second half, we're still rolling. Here's number 4, 6 plays, 75 yards, touchdown, and the scoring's done. Okay, after that, it's not like we never got a 3 and out. Excuse my dry throat. I'm sorry. Oh man, it's all good tonight. Let's see. We go 8 for 32 in punt. We go 8 for 23 yards in punt. And then after they go 96 to bring it to 28-21. We go 9 plays, 36 yards, and then run the clock out. Maybe it was 4 something when we got that one back. We had really good. One thing that's different from last year. Remember, we spent a lot of time starting deep in our own territory the last 2 years. Saturday night. Started at our 39, our 25, our 40, our 25, our 25, our 30, and our 24. Nothing inside the 10, anything like that. And I think it's like that's one thing that Archie, even though he's still how do you say this? He's still learning. He had to learn that that wind in Nebraska was a little different than wind in Australia. What do you think? Was it Michigan State, where I think he tried booting a couple up in the air and they went like 19 yards. But he punted well. I think he put him on like the 15 once, and then on the 7, and then the penalty pushed him back to the 4 on the other one. Let's see. But that was it. Yeah, I liked that our starting position there, because this seems to be a thing now where we're not just starting buried in our own territory as much. I remember Michigan State 2 years ago, and I think it was the same punter because he kicked really well into the wind in the game here this year. But last year he was just turning the field on single-handedly. We're punting. Bashini was not having a good year 2 years ago. Then last year he got it back, but 2 years ago it's like he's kicking 35 yarders. This guy's kicking a 61 yarder. Like they're gaining 25 yards each time we're exchanging punts, and we were just constantly starting in the hole. The PFF grades. TJ, to no one's surprise, 85, very high one. Emmett, 76.8. So I will tell you if they're leading a group of players. Obviously, I'm not really looking at a grade for 15 plays or less. Wide receiver. Yeah, it's like turn Isaiah Hunter and wide receiver into one thing. And Isaiah Hunter, 78.6, leads the wide receivers. All wide receivers, all 3 starters, 60 or better. Great night for them, especially blocking. Tight end, neither Heinrich or Luke graded too high. 58.6, Heinrich got that one. The offensive line, Henry Lutovsky, 77.4 to lead. All the offensive linemen that played over 15 snaps scored over 60. On defense, Okay, this is a name that needs to be said because we've been talking Emmett, we've been talking TJ. Keona Davis had his breakout game. Where's Rodney to tell us it was against unranked UCLA? Oh, well. Had his breakout game. Keona was all over the place. Because I had to look for his number a couple of times because I didn't quite have it committed. He 97? I think 97 is Keona. Hopefully, I've got it. Vincent Shavers, and it looks like what was a kind of timeshare at that linebacker spot is now Vincent Shavers Jr.'s spot when he's healthy, and he'd missed parts of a few games. And Marcus Watson Trent is the backup. Same thing has happened, it looks like, with Rex Guthrie and Marcus Buford. It looks like redshirt freshman Rex Guthrie has pushed Marcus Buford into a supporting role. Shavers had a 74.9. All the linebackers that played significant time were over 60. And then Andrew Marshall led the D-backs with a 71.9. And the D-backs, not their strongest game. But it's kind of funny. When one of their weaker games was 190 something yards from from a CFP quarterback from the year before, yeah, your standards are changing. You have a higher standard keeping that guy under 200 yards and it being a disappointment. Now, people bring up, I think it was Malik Washington of Maryland, but he was just kind of, there was no real rush on him, and he was doing a lot of no one's deep, someone's always open underneath. I think he completed like 20 or like 30, something like 32 passes, but only for 240 something yards. So he was doing a lot of dink and duck. So I don't really, Iola was going downfield some. So TJ, let's see. TJ finished 13 to 15, 205, 87%, 3 touchdowns, no picks, and carried it 5 times for 31 yards, 6.2 average running. And he wasn't sacked, so that doesn't need to be sack adjusted. Emmett, let's say it one more time. 28 carries, 129 yards, a 4.6 average. His long on rushing was 13, but then he had a 56, which was basically 56 yards running, and a 40-yard wheel route TD. And if you haven't seen it, I don't think I got it copied over to my pictures, or did I? Yes, I did. If you haven't seen this picture, okay, well, first of all, there was a story that after the game, and it seems to be true, is because here it was Jacory, the wide receivers, a couple of their position coaches were getting ready to take a picture, and then UCLA cheerleaders were coming by, wanted to get in on the picture. And then apparently their fuddy-duddy cheerleader coach, Bruno, told them that if they took a picture with the Huskers, they would be suspended, and so they didn't. And Jacory Barty said something. Well, he goes, "Man, you talk about," he was something along the lines of, "Man, you talk about a win. I mean, I got a woman, I got a girl, so I don't need it. But when you got their women wanting to get their pictures with you," he goes, "That's a big win, boys." And then here was Emmett. Check out the looks on their faces here. Who snapped Emmett Johnson crossing the goal line on one of his big plays. I'm surprised there weren't UCLA cheerleaders being smuggled in the luggage compartment with some of the looks on their lovely faces there. That was funny. So yeah, and then they didn't scatter it around because, like I said, he only threw it 15 times, only 13 completions. So Dankey had 3 catches for 46 yards, a 15.3 average. He the second longest catch of the night, 29 yards. And that was one that was about a 6-7 yard pass, and then he took off and ran at about 22 yards. And Isaiah Hunter, 3 catches for 37 yards, 12.3 per catch, a 17 long, a very crucial 17 long there at the end. And then Jacory Barney had 4 catches for 19 yards, 4.8 per catch, 9 long, but he had the only receiving TD from the receiving corps. And then, Emmett had the 3 catches for 103 yards, 34.3 average, and 2 receiving TDs. So there you go. I was going to read off Emmett's stats, funky stats. We already did all that. So let's see. We got just for now for me. I think with it being a bye week, not quite as many eyes tuned in. So that was also a nice reason to test out the new incredible headphone tech uh, tonight. So let's see what we got here for comments, and then yeah, there's no real numbers because they don't send a lot of those numbers. Bless the media department in Lincoln, the athletic department, because they send us like their thick little media packet each week, and media like just it's just numbers and stories and info about everybody, and a lot of it's repeated week to week. But they always try to find funky numbers for the game coming up. So none of that this week. After I talk about how wonderful it is, let me see. Well, let's get some comments here because it looks like the comments have been busy little bees again. Let me go up as far as it'll let me because I have a feeling it cut a few out. Yeah, Adam's been a solid third-party observer. He's been a TJ guy since week one. Yeah, all I'm saying on TJ, man, is it's like not as good as he looked carving up the backups on Houston Christian and Akron. Not as bad as he looked against USC. Probably not as good as he looked against UCLA. The next two weeks will tell a lot. And those are truly weeks where we just got to do our thing. And I still say it's like we don't put the backs of those games on TJ's. We don't put those games on TJ's back. We put it on Emmett's back. But we give TJ a chance to. Whoops, we were looking for Emmett again. Bang, bang, bang. Hit a few. Do a little keeper. And that was it's one thing I found out about him just in the last week because everybody's like, oh, let's run some option. Let's run this. We got a running quarterback now. And I was like, no, you've got a fast quarterback now. You don't have a running quarterback. He ran for around 250 yards each his junior and senior year of high school and averaged 3.5 yards a carry. Not so much that makes him slow. What that makes him is a guy who's never been in a running offense. And somebody asked me, why don't we just go to an option offense? It's like you cannot begin to install that in a game. That's the kind of thing where if you're going to do that, you're starting and you're switching to that. You're changing a lot of things about your roster, and then you are doing it in the spring and in the fall, and it's still going to look fucked up for the first year or two, maybe just the first year. I mean, I basically got brought in to be our backup quarterback in high school after about 3-4 games. Well, maybe it was after about 2 or 3 games. And I started coming in about 6 a.m. with another kid who was going to start play some quarterback for the JV games that were coming up. And so it was just so much footwork, working on footwork and pitch keep reads and just doing it over and over and over. And then you get out on the field and you realize that, hey, it's not going to be the same guy you're making that read off each time. So all I'm trying to say there is we weren't about to go to a full-on run game. And then when he runs, you might see them develop one play for use one time. Pick your moment carefully. Like, we're just going to work on this one play, the reads for that one single play, because there's just a lot of different stuff that goes into that. And so you weren't going to see TJ run hog wild. Also, you're not going to see I don't think see TJ ever run it more than 6 or 7 times because you get TJ hurt, and now you got they speak wonderfully of him. He apparently knows the offense inside out. He ain't that big, and he's an NAIA transfer from Northwestern State, Jalen Gramstad. He was the 4th stringer last year, I believe. Got into the UTEP game, and Dylan was thrilled. It was like running out there to meet him after he got to run I think the final series or something like that. But I don't really think you want to turn it all over to Gramstad. And I don't know how, and you got Marcos Davila, who's 4th string that transferred, 4-star recruit that transferred from Purdue after 1 year. And I almost wonder, well, how's he progressing? Because he's more of a Dylan type. He's a big kid, strong arms, like Dylan, and TJ spins a nice ball. And I just wonder if that's one of those things where if TJ got hurt, then we'd see a quick announcement that now Marcos is coming in to be the new 3rd stringer. Like they'd be a little jittery, or would they go with the guy who supposedly is the one who knows the offense inside out, but literally just has like a series or two um, of experience. So, which I guess is a series or two more than Marcos, but still, that would make me a little. Eh. Eh. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Adam Lamparello. I like Nebraska because when I was 9, my dad and I watched the Nebraska Miami game, and it was awesome. My intro to college football. I'm going to guess that this is just trying to connect the dots here because there's not really a the Miami game. I'm Are we talking 2014 like you are about 20, you're in your mid 20s now, and because that game was awesome. When we finally got if that's the one you're talking about, when we finally got Miami into Memorial Stadium, and our crowd was nuts. And I remember thinking, and the same thing kind of happened with Colorado is, the Miami games I started with were the ones in the 80s, and we finally got them in the 90s, and then they smoked us in 2002 with that NFL roster. It's just so much fun now to start spitting out that roster. I'm not going to do it here, but that 2001 Miami team roster that Larry Coker assembled. If you don't know what it is, go Wikipedia or something, that roster, and then just enjoy some of the names that come popping off the page. But yeah, that Miami game there, we had to go to Chicago when I was like director of girls women's hockey for the Midwest, which was basically Iowa, Nebraska, Kansas. Um, and we would go to Chicago once a year. It'd be in the fall on a Friday night. You'd go on a fly into Chicago on a Friday night, head to this Italian restaurant, like basement. Just looks like someplace the mob plotted murders in. The food was fantastic. We'd start at about 8 in the morning, 9 in the morning. We would eat lunch at 12 or probably at 11. We'd conclude all our business by like 12:30 or 1, so everybody could get to O'Hare, catch their flights home. So literally, I'm going to Chicago through Eppley, and here comes a flight full of Miami people off, and some of them already are talking shit. I'm wearing some Nebraska stuff, and waiting for them. We're literally going at the gate right next to theirs, and they're already chirping, and it's like, and we're chirping back, and it's like, God, it is on. Because you wonder, it's 2014. It's been 12 years since we had anything to do with Miami, and it was just so amazing how quickly the hatred came back. Just fantastic. One of the finest times of my life. And flew back at my bar. They were saving me a seat because I think I was getting into Eppley like 30 minutes before kickoff, which means it was going to be a race. Got there like a minute and a half before kickoff, and that game's not 3 minutes old, and people are flipping off the TV, F-bombs are flying, Miami, blah, and it was just wonderful. And then here you have like Randy Gregory just owned that left tackle for Miami, and I think the guy, what did he take, like 3 personal fouls, unsportsmanlike, call him what you will, because Gregory just had him, he was just like hopping over him. And then this guy'd come running up after the play and shove him down from behind. And yeah, that was good old Miami times. I'm guessing Adam Lamparello, that was the one, because that would be a fantastic one. If I've completely missed and you're talking like 94, I apologize, but it's like I'm just taking a guess there. Let's see. Nope, I could be completely wrong, because now he's saying, yes, I admired Osborne for going for 2. So nope, probably around my age. Oh god, yeah. Remember Joel Tilson? Yeah, remember it took Osborne 24 years to get that title. And if people were impatient before, the Kurt Signetti algorithm is going to ensure that nobody ever gets even 5 years. I think it's like, if you're not, you better be in the playoff or at top tier bowl games by year 5, and you better be winning by year 3, or you're just going to get the X. That's why for me, if Rule's our guy, and we still believe that, and he's gone 5-7, 7-6 first bowl game. We're now 7-3, so we're still. It's like the worst we can do now is, like, I guess, tie the 7-6 if we lose both of our final games in the bowl game. That's now our downside. I don't think that's happening. So you're going to see improvement. So if this is your guy and he's improving, and by, say, putting Satterfield at tight ends coach and hiring Dana Holgerson. There's one of our other big coach, what would we call this? Detrimental behavior. It like with Kevin Cosgrove. It was for me. It was Kevin Cosgrove for Bill Callahan. He might still be coaching here today if he simply would have hired a competent defensive coordinator instead of making sure his buddy was getting paid. And to an extent, you had the same thing going on with Bo Pelini and the linebackers coach, Papuchis. Because here's Papuchis, who was a grad assistant, I believe, at LSU, and Bo loves him, brings him to Lincoln, and makes him a linebackers coach. So his first paid job is linebackers coach at a P5. It's like, really? And he often made the Frank Solich, I call it the Frank Solich, Pete Carroll face that they would make often when they were flummoxed in big games. Like with Pete, it just meant losing or being in a close game because he was used to just smoking everybody with the 5-star roster that USC purchased every year. But you got him in a tight game, and he was just like eyes bugging out. Not because of refs calls, just general confusion. And that's kind of how. It's kind of how I felt about Papuchis. He'd do that same like steam shovel, jaw open, eyes wide. I don't know what's going on right now. Look, anyway. Nobody's getting 24 years, and nobody's keeping staff together. Like even Rule is saying like, hey, it's like he's got 2 new coordinators. I think 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait, 3, 4, about 4 or 5 new position coaches. So I mean, even keeping your staff together for like 3 years, the majority of it, I feel like, is because before it was like, if you knew a guy had a problem with the guy he was coaching for, like Lou Holtz's kids, when they'd leave during Lou Holtz's tenure, a very high number of coaches, not only did they not stick with a successful staff, but they they would take like lateral moves by taking the same position at like a mid-major or something. I think one of them, one guy left like linebackers coach for Notre Dame to be linebackers coach at East Carolina, and he wasn't fired. He left because I understand. Working for Lou Holtz, I understand, was not a fun thing. So let's see, what do we got here? Pitsype says he likes Rutgers because I worked in the New York City, New Jersey region, and I was always welcomed warmly and always had somebody at the bar to talk ball with. Jersey is a blast. A couple of years ago when we went to, I think that was like one of Mickey's first games as head coach, and we went to Rutgers, and a buddy of mine went to Rutgers and he said, you see Jersey Shore and you expect a bunch of, hey buddy, fuck you, and he just said Jersey people were super cool. That's a second to those sentiments there, Pitt. I assume someone is asking about the Penn State game. What they call it is the 6-game hold now. I think we've had it twice this year. I know we had it for Northwestern, and I thought we had it for Southern Cal. I can't remember. But anyway, this one's a 6-game hold, and what that means is usually I think they like to have that time and network and all that 2 weeks out. This one means they are waiting the 6 days for the games on Saturday to end, and then they have it all knocked out Sunday, I believe. Let's see. Oh, Knights Templar is pointing out that Emmett is not Jonathan Taylor. So here, folks, not only is UCLA an unranked team, and Emmett Johnson is not Jonathan Taylor. Yes, Jonathan Taylor was wonderful, and Jonathan Taylor's running for 260 yards a game in the NFL right now, or at least somewhere near that. The last game was at like 280 or something. Yeah, we know he's nowhere near. So I don't know. Yeah, but they're so desperate to try and say, he's not near that. You know who he's near or ahead of? Just about every other running back in college football this year. That's all we're saying. So thanks for pointing it out, though. I'm guessing that Herschel Walker had superior success as well. And yeah, it looks like let's see, Iowa games 11 a.m. That's always that was like what the one locked in time. I think the two locked in times were the Cincinnati game and the Iowa game because we get that 11 a.m. game, and then after that's the game known as clean old fashioned hate, Georgia Tech. I love Georgia rivalries. One of their rivalries is clean old fashioned hate, and the other one's the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. I won't say it's the world's largest indoor cocktail party, or one of these halfwits will come in and point out it's not actually the world's largest indoor cocktail party. But by God, Huskers Happy Hour is the largest Huskers Happy Hour cocktail party going on tonight. So we got that going for us. Let's see. Oh yeah, Troy Davis. Yeah, Iowa State. That was a big Heisman year. If anybody wants to look up the nominees, because or I should say the finalists from that year, because he was a finalist, and Jim Rome, and that's when we were listening to the Jim Rome show was being reached in Omaha by an AM station in West Point, Nebraska, and he had Omaha people Omaha and Jim Rome took to each other like crazy, like just loved each other. And Jim Rome had done a couple of live shows in the LA area where he's from, but then he down at the old varsity when it was still like what 11th and Harney or something like that. He did his first outside of his hometown live show in the varsity, and it was just such a fun shit show. The Peter brothers and Jared Tomich showed up live. It popped on the stage. I actually we got in line at like 9 o'clock, so we got seats right up front, except for like some of the VIP seats they were holding. The fire marshal came by late in the show and issued the tickets for overcrowding or whatever, exceeding capacity, and then just listening to Jim Rome take calls from people from Omaha describing the carnage after everybody left. Apparently, some guy was sleeping on a pool table and using a pizza box for a pillow, and there was a pizza still in one hand, and yeah, it was just like Sodom and Gomorrah in the old market day. It was a blast. But the reason I brought up Jim Rome is he interviewed on consecutive days all of the Heisman nominees from that year, and I remember that was a pretty loaded field. This year, I think the top 12 favorites. The last bookie email I got were all quarterbacks except for Jeremiah Smith. But now it looks like Emmett's starting to pop into the top 10, something like that. It's just like he ends up because the only running back ahead of him in total rushing yards right now is a guy from Jacksonville State. So he's putting up the numbers in the Power Four. So if he's at 1,100 something right now, there's finishing 1,500. It's just not a big running back year, but he's still going to be on or at the top of that heap. Unless I got his hamstring torn during the bye week, because that was literally what I was writing about in the first paragraph of the recap on Saturday night, or should I say Sunday morning, because it was not Saturday night anymore when I finished writing that bad boy up. Let's see. Tom Osborne might have taken 24 years to get a national championship, but at least his teams were always ranked and relevant. Yeah, well, Tom Osborne started with the Cadillac, not with the beat up ANC Pacer. He came off. I think he took over after a couple back-to-back natties there, and he at least kept the 9-10 wins going. So let's see. Gary Pierce, and I'm kind of with him on this. I usually hate 11 a.m. games, but it's okay for Black Friday, day after Thanksgiving. I don't mind 11 a.m. games sometimes because two reasons. One is sometimes, hey, at that point I can just kind of kick back, go home, take a nap, then come back, maybe watch night games, or I can do something I've done twice in my life and that's go the distance, open and close the bar, because they will open at like 10:30. Normally it's 11:10:30 for uh, an 11 a.m. kickoff, so people can get in, start getting a little oiled up, and I might come in a little earlier just to get my early writing done. But after that, you just hang around and you stick around for the afternoon games, and you stick around for the evening games, and then maybe you stick around for you always just used to be the member of the Pac-12 after dark or Hawaii. And now, hey, what were we doing Saturday night? It was Nebraska's first episode of Big Ten After Dark, baby. Oh yeah. Uh, so the 11 a.m. game. There's an article by Modern Drunkard Magazine, actual online publication, just moderndrunkardmagazine.com. And they had a wonderful article once called 40 Things Every Good Drunk Should Do Before He Dies. And one of them in there was open and close your favorite bar. And it gave coaching. And I took this to heart, and it worked both times. One, you tell nobody you're doing it. Because it's like the two times I've done it, I haven't planned for it. I've been aware it can be done. And come the dinner bell, let's say that you've been there for that 11 a.m. kickoff, come that 6 p.m. or so dinner bell, normally you eat, and maybe that's when you're getting a little tired. Time to take it home. Get the blankets on you. Get the TV on, and then turn it off at 2 in the morning after you pass out in the middle of that 7:30 kickoff game. And now, but the key is tell no one, because then people will cheer you on and buy you shots, and shots will put an end to it. Shots are for the sprint, man. If you're going the distance and this is the marathon, no shots. Okay, tell no one. You're drinking, but no, you are slow walking. Have your meals, have your lunch, have your dinner. Don't once you start trying to just go on an empty stomach, period, let alone an empty stomach, if we're having a few too many, once again you're probably shot there. So no, and it's just pace yourself, no shots, eat your meals. You too can do this. This is why I'm here. Give you the right advice. Pit Snipe had to go look for his kitty, and I guess the Northern Lights are out. Well, I want to know who the hell was shooting off fireworks about an hour ago with the Northern Lights going off. Holy cow. Let's see. Osborne finished. Here we go. I want to see the stats. JC says Osborne finished in the top 10, 73 to 88, 89 to 92. They fell out. Yeah, I believe that sounds correct. And then got back in at number one, like probably number two, number three, and then number one, number three or so, number one, and then had the amazing run. Yeah, I don't know. Osborne's never unranked. He was always ranked, but he did get out of the top 10. So let's see. Yeah, there we go. We never hired a Vanny from Wyoming today. No, probably not. Although, that Wyoming level's kind of around James Madison level. If we're all going to try and hire the next Kurt Signetti getting Indiana where they are has created so much butthurt among boosters of blue blood programs. That is just, I mean, I'm telling you, it's like, that is Kurt Signetti. If you don't think he factored into James Franklin getting the boot, sure, he went from being a top number 4, number 3, number 4 team to start. Yes, he did, and then losing to Oregon in overtime. Okay, it's another loss to a top 10 team, but nothing embarrassing about that in the least. Or that Oregon wouldn't lose their first Big Ten game since joining the conference till a couple weeks later when they played in Indiana. And you can bet your ass it factored into Brian Kelly. It's like, we're paying you all this money while Kurt Signetti does this. Well, they're paying Kurt Signetti that money now. But yeah, it's like, yeah, Brian Kelly, yes, your team's underperforming some, and LSU is absolutely a school that plays for national titles. Uh, you're a Titanic asshole, and damn it, Kurt Signetti can do that at Indiana, and you can't do that at LSU, where we give you everything. That is just going to be happening everywhere. John wrote about that. Is Kurt Signetti going to get all kinds of college coaches fired? He already has, and he'll continue to as long as they're staying in the top five. Yeah, I think they already said they're setting the line for the Big Ten championship game, making Ohio State a 3.5 point favorite. So, yeah, we'll see. Um, yeah, Osborne perfected the option because Osborne started out just power eye, pitch left, pitch right, that sort of thing, and then I think it was was it? I guess it was probably right before Turner, like maybe 79, yeah, 78, 79 when they started transitioning into the option. So yeah, let's see. Oh, we're talking about O faces. I'm not going to go back and find out what that story is. They were looking at looking at the UCLA cheerleaders. Weren't they adorable? Hey, tell you what. Let's see here. Okay, yep, we're getting near the bottom. Each week I try and get a few pictures, and then I forget to show them to you guys. And so, one picture for those of you fans of the Superman movie, the new one ton of fun. Just had my mom and sister watch it. They enjoyed the hell out of it. And the guy that stole all the scenes was Crypto, the dog. Well, I think I told you guys that Crypto was literally body captured, body motion and all that from James Gunn's own adopted dog, who's named I think his name was Uzi or Uzo or something like that. Not the drink, no, because it wasn't quite the drink. But anyway, something like that. And you can see the resemblance. He has the same one ear. He's got the real long, floppy ears, and the one ear just flops and the other one sticks straight up. So here's the dog he was based on. And there's that one ear sticking up. Ozu, that's it, Ozu. And Ozu, was it? Ozu apparently was just every 1,000% the destructive force of nature that Crypto is in that movie, just destroying things and people. And he said we adopted him, and within 6 months he chewed all the furniture to pieces, chewed the legs on all the chairs, socks, shoes, name it. Said he even ate a laptop, just chewed a laptop so bad that he rendered that thing useless. So, but anyway, here's some non-Superman pictures. Let's see. Here we go. There's Rocco giving Emmett a lift over there after it looks like you got Quinn Clark in there. Who would 29 be? I can't think who 29 is. But a bunch of the boys. I think there's Heinrich there stepping out with a grin on his face. There's Lateef in motion there. I showed you they got a nice night shot. Looks like I'm guessing post game there because he'd be leaving and there's not really anybody out in the booths or shut down. And there's our boy John Butler. John Butler has an intense look on his face. Nice guy. He's a good guy. He likes talking football with the media. He really seems to kind of enjoy it. And he was the one that showed us. He and Dana Holgerson both had what John Butler calls the skullet, where it's the big bald spot and the long hair. And and if I was still growing my hair a little longer, they'd be calling that a skullet. I never quite had the mullet, but I would let it get down to the bottom of my neck there, so it got a little long, and I got a little bald. And then there's Emmett. One of his runs, he scored both his receiving touchdowns in the same spot. So there's that. Let's see. What else did I have here? Another shot of one of those touchdowns with Emmett. And then our photographer, I think his son was a holder in college, so he was getting his special teams shot, especially the kicker. So there's Will Cannon kicking one of his 4 extra points. The line and Emmett were having some fun with the sellies. I got to give them that. They were making the sellies work. And then there's that first pass where, man, they're like, What a throw by Latif. That one scared the hell out of me. But Ja'Cory, man, is just a little, I don't know, honey badger. He's the guy that the coaches say is just, the wins the effort battle every time. Like he's going to win it in practice. He's going to win. It wasn't like I tell people. The Hail Mary against Michigan wasn't the stroke of luck you think. I mean, there's always luck involved with those. That was just that little guy, little get Ja'Cory just going in there and taking the damn ball away from everybody. He's been in to talk to the press 2 or 3 times, and he lights up the room. He walks in and he just comes in with this huge smile on his face, and and it's usually right after practice, and that's just a guy that you can tell. This is a better life than I think I deserve. I enjoy this. I deserve this. How are you guys doing? That's what you see on Ja'Cory Barney's face. That just a little battler. Look, the defense working it there. Here, let's see, 52 at 52B. I cannot remember who 52 is. But I like the Swarm. I love the Swarm. And then you already saw that, but why not look at them again? Aren't they adorable? And then here, if you want to talk adorable, okay, because before the game, that's when our photographer, Stephen Bruce, he's going to go around, get his fan shots, get his mascot shots, band shots, any cheerleaders and all that. Well, he caught this girl is just adorable. I don't know if she's like, she looks like she could be anywhere from like 13 to 19, but she's wearing this corn, like corn cob mask, and all you can see is like her face through there pretty much. Just looks adorable. Those gals just look like they're having the best time. And that's just, a shot where I don't know if he said, hey, look here, and just happened to get I didn't know if she just happened to look over and see him taking the picture, or he asked her to turn around. But what a great shot, that just having a ball. Let's see. Tell you what, time for a little throat drying as we get into the stretch here. Delicious. I'm still waiting for you, Propel. So let's see. Let's go in. I'm going to try. Let's see. We can get down to the bottom of the comments. And then what I want you guys to start putting in the comments, the funnier, the better, not necessarily the most foul or profane, but just some fun ideas for what to do during bye week. I wrote down a couple, and then let's see what we got here. Oh, wait, now we're back at the Troy Davis guy. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Okay. Apparently, Northern Lights are going tonight. I've seen that in a few comments. James Boardman says they all take a drive out of Lincoln after the stream. Pictures of the Northern Lights are coming in from Columbus and York right now. Wow. All right. Cool. Let's see. Fred Sacco says, the 84 Orange Bowl is my first Husker memory. Grown men crying and hanging over the rail of my parents' deck vomiting. I thought that was a hangover. No, that was the next day when you learned that just because you vomited doesn't mean you get to escape the hangover. Some people believe that's true. I'm going to throw up so I don't get hungover. And then, what you did was just exacerbate the hangover unless you went straight for the water jug, because what that vomiting did is made you dehydrated as hell, and that is your headache. Yeah, it's like you want to know what makes you sick. Too much of the booze mucks up the stomach acid. That's like one of the best things you can do to avoid a hangover is something greasy, like sausage and bacon, a pizza, because the grease tends to neutralize the stomach acid. And then the best thing you can do for the damn dehydration is just chug the water, and you can. That's that's your cheat code for getting rid of that headache, kids. I have a feeling I am not telling a lot of people here something they didn't already know. Let's see. Joel Tilson, I mentioned Cosgrove, and that just makes everybody go like, ugh. But Papoose just moved up from he started out at linebackers, and then he made him like the defensive coordinator, and then called him like the assistant head coach. And he was about in his 4th year of coaching by that time, and it's like, my God, I hope this never happens. Then I think he did have like Bo had. Oh God, he had some sort of like one of those indigestion attacks that feels like the heart attack, and they made him leave the game. I think leave the game right before halftime, and you had Pap. It's probably a good thing because then Pap couldn't freak out on the defensive calls. And I think Pap was kind of like playing the head coach game there for a half. Uh, Somebody said, "Oh, special teams coach at Florida State. Why not? Perfect." Let's see. Yeah, that's the guy's name. There you go, Knights. Eric Flowers getting the beat down from Randy Gregory. Oh, it was and and the other was yeah, that guy was probably number one getting the beat down, or number two getting the beat down was everybody that tried to tackle Amir Abdullah. I do not know, maybe because him and Ron Brown ended up tight. And I don't know if Ron Brown put a few stories in his ear about the like how shitty Miami could be. Amir Abdullah ran like a man fucking possessed that night. I think he ended up with about what 220 something, 224, 225 yards rushing, and he wasn't going out of bounds, and he was looking to put the hurt on tacklers that night, and he did, and he wore it because we pulled away. What final was 42-31, something like that, and at the fourth quarter was just Nebraska asserting dominance, and one of the guys doing that was Amir Abdullah. And I think at one point one of the announcers like he is running like a man possessed. If you ever want, and I think I tell people this occasionally on here, if you ever want just about 6 or 7 minutes to get you fucking jacked, and now you know that we got YouTube on our TVs. Yeah, so watch it on the big screen, and they just look up Nebraska Miami 2014, and there's this like 6 7 minute cut that somebody put together with music, and then a lot of calls from the game, and there was the one where you had one play I think where somebody just like frustrated grabbed Abdullah and tackled him, ripped him down by his face mask, and then another guy came up and just blasted the guy from behind, and you hear the Nebraska announcer going, and that's a penalty. Get that guy out of here! Just just yelling it, screaming it, and it was just finally we got to just for the second time. And I think what we beat Miami twice, right? Beat them in the '95 Orange Bowl, and then the '94 season, and then beat them in the 2014 game. And then that's when they switched out. That was Bo's last year, and in comes Riley, and we go from asserting physical dominance to having our asses handed to us by halftime. And the second half was just a classic, Tommy Armstrong running around. Here's what the play call is, boys, but everybody get open, and brings us back. And we ended up losing a close one. And Tommy almost brought us back in that game. But yeah, that was Mike Riley didn't have the personality or the alpha maleness necessary to be a head football coach. At all, and he definitely didn't have the alpha in him necessary to be the head coach of Nebraska in a Nebraska-Miami game. So, go away. Yeah, Bo kept Puchis because he did what Bo said, and then and I think by then Carl leaves because Papuchis replaces Carl, and Carl takes the FAU job. And then also and then Bo started going over to work with the offense more. And then Pap was left kind of unchecked with the defense, and the defense. It didn't take a Cosgrove slide, but it sure as hell it was a shell of itself when Carl was the D coordinator, and then Bo was kind of chipping in on that side of the ball. My favorite Bo Carl moment is still the Colorado game, the Alex Henry field goal game, where they give up. I thought they gave up like 150 yards on the first two touchdowns on the first 4 plays. And that's when you just had Pelini crash out on the sideline, and they've got the defense there, and they are just taking turns, just blowing their stack, and then they get a little out of breath. The other one tag it, and it was just the Pelini tag team was just at the Blackshirts. And Carl at one point, I think, just punched had his little grease board or whatever, and just blam, punched that one in half. And that was, and we come back and win the game. Brother, that was something else. Let's see. What else we got here? I don't know that they always ran for 400 or 500 yards. Well, Melvin Gordon did. I'm just going to move on now that I'm depressed again. Fred, don't you dare. That is Georgia Tech. You leave Northwestern out of fine college traditions. You keep them where they belong. Oh, God. Here we go. The Jersey Shore remake starring Fred, says Vince Watson. I love it. God, who plays Snooki? Damn, none of those UCLA cheerleaders, that's for sure. Um, what else we got? Well, let's see. Pit Snipe says you got plenty of options. Yeah, I think we can just comb the stands and find that. Did he call Christian Peter Chris Everett? No, Jim Rome called it Jim Everett, Chris Everett, and I was watching that when it happened. That was just one of those jaw dropping moments. I I always kind of wondered if that was maybe staged because boy, that started Jim Rome's career. I met Jim Rome one time in Omaha, and he was super nice. It was almost like Jim Rome, the sports jock, was a character because Jim Rome, the guy I talked to, was just a really nice guy. So, but hey, yeah, and then Stephen A. Smith decided to just take a to a whole new annoying level. But no, yeah, I always wondered if maybe that was staged. And he goes like, "Hey, just remember that. Hey, Jim Everett's here with us tonight. Check that, Chris Everett." And he goes, "Yeah, I'm just telling you what. You call me that again, I'm coming after you." And it's like, well, it's a 10-minute segment or it's a 5-minute segment, so we got a long way to go. And he is like, "I bet I will." And then he did it, and he goes, "Well, you better not." Okay, Chris, and he like flips that giant table. Never, but you could kind of see Everett getting that. He's got that look of the guy who you know is about to start a bar fight with a smile on his face because the eyes are completely disassociated from the smile. That's kind of what Everett had going on because you see him like biting the lower lip and gritting his teeth a little, and yeah, it's like, oh, that's the guy who's just hoping the guy that he's talking shit to will throw the first punch. But always a staple of bar fights. It's either the sucker punch or the guys begging each other to throw the first punch. Like that somehow keeps them out of jail, as long as they made a show of it. Oh God, I'm glad I don't see bar fights anymore. Let's see what else we got. Yeah, there's Fred. That's kind of what 11 a.m. games. Get out of the way. Enjoy the rest of the day. Uh, yeah, I think you said you saw me there once. I've had a few people say they've seen me there, know who I am, and I'm like, let's just say hi, man. Yeah, believe me, at the bar, this helps out with the bar. I get all my babbling out of it in one shot, and then now I can kind of relax. I've got a lot of what I wanted to say all week about football out of the system in one shot, and it's actually allowed, and people aren't going to shut up and let someone else talk. So yeah, come in. Yeah, Husker Bob can't drink all day if you don't start in the morning. Nice. Let's see. Yikes, Andy just splooshed. I did? Yeah. But that is a word I learned from Archer. That was always Pam and oh, she changed her name a bunch early on because she kept wanting to have sex with Archer, the secretary. Carol slash Cheryl. But yeah, they'd see something go, yeah, like when Pam was like sploosh, and then was it she then oh geez, Archer's mom would get grossed out. Anyway, don't even get me started on Archer. Let's see. Ooh, I don't know what this had to do with, but nothing beats a 6 a.m. breakfast bar. Oh, Fred says, everybody call, let's go bother Andy at Tiger Tom's. Yeah, Todd from that used to do the Monday night. I'll have to get Todd on this show since he's not on Monday Night Therapy anymore. And have to get him. I love Todd, but yeah, he came by and hung with me one road game when I was sitting there writing as we enjoyed it. Let's see. Oh God, I've opened and closed a couple of bars that were not my favorites, and I assume that was playing a wingman role of some sort. Not necessarily like, oh, I got this girl or whatever, but just Hey, I want to go drinking. I don't want to go drinking alone because there's no other reason to do that to open and close a bar where you don't really enjoy being there. Is this more? It sounds like you got breakfast suggestions. What beer and Wheaties? No, absolutely not. Uh, Somebody makes these really funny NFL cartoons, and the ones they were doing with Jackson Dart and Cam Scatteroo just yammering away like a bunch of frat dudes, bruh. And they were getting in fights with Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley. And it's like, yeah, you better not talk that way to me, man. I'm already 6 whiskey Mountain Dews deep. And then here, like one of them, you just see Hurts and Barkley passed out on the floor of the studio, and like the faces all beat up, and they're like, "What happened here?" Well, I said, "You bet." They said, "You want some?" And I said, "Oh, you better try it, bruh." And Cam Scatteroo was, yeah. Then I said, "Pachoo, pachow." Like, yeah, but then they just started like grabbing each other's butts and shoving, trying to fight with the tush push. Oh, brother. If I think of it, I'll try to remember and see who's putting those out on TikTok and give you that info because they are just foul and they're funnier than hell. You haven't laughed because you weren't expecting it because Pat Mahomes was talking to Trevor Lawrence, and then Travis Kelsey walks in and wants Pat Mahomes to get him. Hey, who's that? Who's that chick? Because man, she just looks like my dream girl. No boobs, no butt, long blonde hair, and Mahomes is explaining to him it's a dude, and he's like, "Oh, gross," but get me his number. And so then that Chiefs like Jaguars games happens, and all I can do is every time I see Trevor Lawrence's picture of kissing Travis Kelsey in that stupid pose, the same one where they superimposed her like Herbie Husker on there making out with her after the Cincinnati game. God, Pitt says like closed bars that sucked and enjoyed it. Yeah, as long as you're not opening and close it. I bet we can make Andy actually run. Well, no, I'm not leaving or anything. Just thought we'll see how you guys behave and figure it out from there. Yeah, Signetti. Well, no, because Devaney didn't come in, and nobody's ever come in and turned a horrible team into like a top 10 team in year one, and a team that just has like decade. Like that was their best year ever in their history. What they won 10 games or whatever it was, and that best year in Indiana history. Devaney came in and he worked them up, but then he had actually stalled in about 60 after I think 68. They averaged 15 points a game, and that's when he tabbed Osborne for offensive coordinator. And then the next year they averaged 28 points and 69, then 40 and 7, and he had like 44 and 71. And that's why your next Husker coach was Tom Osborne and not one of Devaney's drinking buddies on the staff. Like I think who were the big two that were Warren Powers and Jim Walden, I think. And then Powers left for Missouri and Walden for Iowa State. Let's see here. He does kind of remind me the way he carries himself, though. Although I don't know that Devaney was quite that just flat out cocky in front of the mic. But then they didn't have to be in front of the mic all the time then either. So who knows? I'm not out of respect for the Bob father. I'm not going to put Fred's up there, and I was just about to, but we can't be giving up the Bob father stories. Come on now, have a little respect. Devaney, tough Irish football. Yep. Let's see. Hell. 29's Carter Nelson. No wonder you don't. Yeah, they call it and with him, with the athletic ability he's got, they're ready for him now. He's got the size, the speed, the freakish stuff. It's going to click for him. And they did the little public call out on him that they said this is Carter. We are going to give Carter Nelson a chance to shine, and he has not. He's getting in there, but yeah, he's not the super Carter that we're looking for yet. But hey, Second year. We're fine. We'll be fine. I think Carter will be fine. Do, 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 do. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I saw that. Yeah. UCLA. Well, is it official they're moving? I thought they just went public with they want to move, and which tells me that the Rose Bowl still must be kind of a pile of shit. But I'll check with Miley. Maybe we'll have her on next week, and she can give volleyball update. And do they have anything? Have they actually carved out any of that cement shit so you can go to the bathroom indoors and not in a not in a porta john at a Division I football game? Actually, the first time I saw the trough, and I was kind of like, okay, what am I supposed to pee in the one? No, wait, guys are washing their hands in there, so that's not the trough. This is the trough. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Little Knights going back to the 79 Skurs had, yeah, I am hip. Not only, well, not Craig Johnson, but amazing names. I am hip and Jarvis Redwine are just two all-time college football names. Andre Franklin, he actually, I think ended up being about the best Husker running back to come out of there because was it the Dolphins he went and played fullback for? Because he was like he was an NFL fullback who got carries and cleared the road. Let's see, yeah, because I mean, of that group there, I think he easily played. I think he played more in the NFL than the other three put together. But not that I am hip and Jarvis Redwine weren't like a lot of fun to watch. Or yeah, I am hip Jarvis Redwine. I had a friend Ed Stein, and we'd be out throwing the ball around, and he gave himself the nickname Jarvis Ed Stein, which just killed me. Ed, if you're somehow watching this, I do remember the Jarvis Ed Stein days. Let's see. Nebraska makes the playoffs without Rule. That's 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 an interesting thought. Let's put it that way. Let's see. Oh God! Now Fred's making eyes wide shut jokes. For God's sake, Switzer and Osborne were always having dinner before next day's game. I do remember one. It was probably right after Switzer got let go. Those couple years there, and I was down in another Chesterfield story, because Chesterfield was like three rooms. It had big bar area, then you go to your right, and here was kind of when the bar was open, just everybody could hang in there. But I think in theory that was kind of the room you could rent or whatever, and it had a little barely elevated stage, and then it had the huge pool room. And God, you could play in there for hours cheap. Not as cheap as the student union, though. I played a lot of pool in the student union. I think it was like a quarter an hour or something, or 50 cents an hour. It was ridiculous. And this wasn't the 20s. But anyway, so we're before the Nebraska-Oklahoma game, and here is like a kind of an MC, and I don't know, and they're playing music and talking, and up there on either side of this guy, and it's probably about 9:30, 10 in the morning, and these guys are already drinking like it's 9 at night. It's Barry Switzer and Bob Devaney and telling stories and getting plowed, and it was just college football as hell. Fred brings up Dylan Rogers. I don't know if he was answering a question. Dylan Rogers, nice job stepping in for Dason McCullough, who, yeah, I saw him on the out list, and I'm like, wow, this is like the one guy who probably could put a stop to Ayamaleva, because it just rained like 6'5" and fast as hell, and we missed him. Dylan Rogers had himself a nice game, though. Good job by him. Let's see here. Yeah, if that's me you're talking about, Braxton, throat drying. I don't know if that you're talking about you, but yeah, that's something I go through on this show, and you know what? Small price to pay. Let's see. I'm going to start rolling it down now and get to the bottom. Get to the bottom of it, Andy. Fred said he had a walking hangover during the Big 12 title game in '99 in San Antonio, and survived pregame game, postgame, and thought I was safe. Then went to the strip club. Yeah, that's the thing, man. It feels like you're talking a little hair of the dog there. And the one big article that really got me going on the water and on the greasy food, and also another way, if you're feeling kind of sick in the morning, is honey. And I admit the first time I ever had toast and honey, and I thought I was going to be sick before that, and it was like, and the idea of eating honey and toast was not making me feel any better. Choked out about half of it, and I'm literally a minute and a half goes by, and the nausea goes away because apparently honey will also like settle that stomach acid. So, but you know what won't is hair of the dog, because they said here's like like I drink coffee for my hangover. It's like, no, you'll be wide awake and you'll be worse off because caffeine's a diuretic. It'll dry you out more and that make that headache worse, not better. So you'll be an alert, more hungover person. Said hair of the dog. It will make the the hangover go away. It'll get you drunk again, but it's literally one of those tickets that always comes to you, and if you kind of do it over and over on a serious bender, it's worse every time. You eventually just got to take your hangover like a man or a strong-willed woman. Sorry, Mom. And not that she was hungover. Oh, I'm just going to stop now. I'm shoveling myself out of trouble. Going down. Yeah, but anyway, yeah, and the more times you try hair of the dog consecutively, the worse that last hangover is going to be. Cool toilet. The Joel Tilson, yeah, the cool. Show me. Okay, there we go. The cool toilet helps hangovers. It doesn't help hangovers, but it helps that burning face, doesn't it? Oh man. Oh yeah, shit. Or better yet, take if you don't want to be lying your head, inches away from where you just emptied your tummy, you just take that little cover off the toilet and then nice cool entire top. Oh, at least I'm not alone here. What shows am I watching? I remember somebody told was talking like some joke like that, and everybody else is from the nanny side of things where you don't drink and you're the devil if you do, and he's telling some stories like, I know what you think of me, but I don't care. So it's kind of how I operate. Let's see what we got. Pit Snipe talking about. Okay, I'm just going to let you. When I was really surrounded by the northern lights, I was crawling across non-skid catwalks and a flight deck getting whipped by shalalas. I guess that's shillelaghs made out of fire hoses soaked in seawater. Good times. Yeah. What doesn't give you hypothermia makes you stronger. Let's see. Yeah. Did volleyball play tonight? Says good. Whoops. There you go. Good news about our teams that are competing for championships. Laney was flying around like a trained seal, bouncing balls off her nose. The volleyball team had yet another sweep. Yeah, it's one of those things where, hey, lose one before the tournament. I always get nervous when we hit the tournament on these crazy win streaks because it just seems like. But this really feels like the team right now, man. It's like it just feels like the most complete team, the best team defensively in the country. To get one down on them, you just have to work your ass. Like they're going out like smashing, the shot of their lives, and then there'll be Laney like there used to be Lexi. Oh, boink! It's back in the air, yay! So that's got to frustrate opponents, and I think it does. My bathroom is a consistent 20 degrees below ambient in the winter. It'll sober your ass up for sure. Hypothermia, baby. That's the key. Pit Snipe, you ass. Melvin Gordon just scored again. Okay, and Pitt's talking, I assume he's talking about the Jim Rome Everett thing. I just think it wasn't, because I don't think Everett was that great an actor, and he looked like he was generally trying to hold his shit together, but he'd had enough. And also he might, you don't know if he backed himself into a corner by telling me, I ever get that guy alone in a room and he does that, I'll kill him. And then there you are alone in a room with the guy. It's like, God, am I going to jail if I do this? So that he looked like pissed, little hesitant, and at the end, yeah, at least he just like, that's probably the definition of misdemeanor assault and battery when you don't actually do anything other than scare the piss out of him. Let's see. Yeah, Everett was a big quarter. Yeah, Everett was a big boy. I'd say he's like in the 6'4", 230 range, something like 6'3", 6'4", 225, 230. So yeah, probably Dylan's size, a little taller. Fred's still threatening to, yes, come by Tiger Top, say hi. Oh, what do you think about doing a call-in show these days? I've only got two. I've only got like 2 hours. I only want 2 hours. I'm a little over that, but what the hell? Yep, the Todd father talking about our boy Todd Wolverton. I got to see if I can get him, get Jarrett Shearer in here, get Aaron in here just for the fun. I love Aaron. Of course, got to get Pitt Snipe's got to make it this time when Miley comes. I'll try to warn you in the little write up if she's going to be on, and I'll tell you if she's going to be on, be there at the beginning. And I think a lot of you are, but be there at the beginning because she's gonna want to come in, do her thing, and then go get on with her evening. Let's see. All right, I'm gonna. Oh, Gary Pierce. Never heard of Tiger Tom. Still, I'm getting a free drink if I get people in here. I'm gonna. Hey, I'm on the show recruiting, baby. It looks like Fred took off. Good night, Fred. If you probably already left. Yeah, John tonight he wasn't feeling great. He was gonna Rodney. He was gonna try and make it in if he could, but he wasn't feeling his best, and I don't want to guilt him into coming on if he's gonna feel like shit. We'll get John on. I always have a good time with John. Get him hollering a little. If you want to see two people that just crack each other up, it's when you get John and Miley together. John first met Miley when I was just dragging my daughter along to like the Corn Nation. We'll usually do a thing, invite anybody that reads, listens, watches, that wants to come meet everybody. Have some food and a few drinks. And I brought Miley to that once, and she just. Here's Miley. She's a little skittish, and then if she gets to know you, then you get Frank and Miley. And she was like John, tell me other old people words, like egad and shit like that. And so she's just like chirping him to death. And he's like, what the hell did I do to deserve this? But you could tell they're both having a ball. And I still remember when she asked to write for coordination, and I was like, well, yeah, basically the story was, I know your sports up and down. You played a college sport. You written ever? No. And so I told John, she knows sports up and down. She just hasn't written. And John just kind of went, screw it. We'll teach her how to write. And I did my best not to help with that. I figured I'd already left enough therapy to be done from coaching her as many years as I did. But yeah, those two hit it off, and if you ever see that, just come to watch Miley flip John shit. But yeah, maybe get them both on at some point, and not tell either one. Oh, let's see. Missouri gave Powers a better offer. Okay, I assume I don't really have time to go flipping through. I assume that more than one school wanted him. And he was at Missouri for a lot of years. But yep, the story. I remember one story I heard. Who knows, if it's true or there's some truth to it. But that Walden and Powers had put a lot of time in at the bar with Devaney, wanting to be the one that succeeded him, and he's like, nah, I'm going to give it to that 6'4" ginger milk drinking kid because he saved. Bob Devaney says he saved my job from 15 to 28 to 40 points, in 2 years. It's like, yeah, he did it two ways. He did it with the offense, and the other way was they had him wanting to work with the injured players rehab, and that's where he brought Boyd Epley in. And they're like, "What the fuck? These guys are coming back in better shape than these injured guys are coming back off the college DL like stronger than the starters. What's going on here?" And that turned into Boyd Epley's strength program. Let's see. People are talking about drinking down at the Kincaider. Telling some more stories there. Pitt, Miley ain't going nowhere. I'm going to start a fight. All right, I'm skipping to the end here. It's 2:11. I do appreciate all the comments. I know I've got to start going through them kind of fast at times, but don't stop because of that. I'm gonna find you sooner or later. Let's see. Oh, Braska snuck in on us. Braska Rascal. If you read earlier, sorry missed you. But yeah, he's like, Huskers great win, but my Steelers lost. Yeah, but the good news is as boring because was that the really boring game? But then they had an even more boring one last night. I can't remember. Well, whatever the one last night. If that was Steelers in the boring game, made them forget about that. So, the VIP at Sophie is pretty awesome. Yeah, Miley and Connor went to the UCLA game and then went to the game at Sophie the next day. So, got in college and pro football on the weekend. All right, and with that, well, here's the thing: ways to kill the bye week. And I'm just going to make this fast, and we'll get out of here. And I do it in honor of Mike Royko, the former Chicago editorial columnist that was just hilarious. And he wrote one time this column on how to get through the holidays, and I've just kind of transferred a little of that over to how to get through the bye week. Well, here's one serious one. So many college games are on YouTube and in their entirety. And one that is, anytime you got a bye week, the full CBS broadcast of the '96 Fiesta Bowl is there for your enjoyment. Nebraska versus Florida, that will put you in a better mood every time. And then within two of the others, and this were ones suggested by Royko to get through Christmas and that crap, is just sit down and write letters to players and coaches on other teams that you just absolutely hate. Don't threaten anyone, but be profane. Be very foul in describing the things you wish would happen to them in a perfect world where they really don't deserve to be enjoying success, and write them and stuff them in envelopes. And then one of the others where we've kind of talked about tonight, just get drunk, just sit in front, get your fire going. And hey, it was fire weather the last couple of days. It was fireplace weather, but get that fire going. Sit down, just get drunk, watch some TV, and when you get done, bite the cork off another bottle and start and rinse, repeat. And the thing is, if you do one in conjunction with two, you might start mailing all those angry letters you wrote and all those foul letters you wrote to Kirk Ferentz and Paul Feinbaum and other scum of the earth. And yeah, you might start mailing those away. And then if you do number two in conjunction with number one, you won't really care at that point if they read them right. You'll change your mind when when sobriety slaps you with its wet glove of uncaringness in the morning. But your life's about to get so much more interesting when either the responses to those letters or the ones that are turned over to the police who will be knocking at your door, and whose heartbeat and whose adrenaline doesn't start spiking when the police show up at your door, right? So anyway, I just had an alert go off. It's my 10:15 p.m. alert that tells me it's waiver night in fantasy football. So if your fantasy team is beat to shit combined with bye weeks going, then get out there, do your 20 minutes of stuttering. That won't help. Studying, and make your waiver wire pickups and coach your way to fantasy victory. So great night, guys. Enjoyed the bye week. I like this where can just riff a little, read what you guys are saying. And we'll talk a little more seriously about the whole Dylan and TJ thing and next week, and we'll talk about Penn State, what they've got going, their freshman quarterback, and then God, whoever that running that they had last year that was like just knocking guys on their ass, in the CFP. It seems like he's kind of doing a timeshare this year, so we'll study up a little on that. We'll see who's kicking it for him on defense, and I imagine that wild horses aren't going to keep Dylan away from TJ in Happy Valley after they wouldn't let him travel to UCLA. So we'll see what's going on. I have a feeling Dylan on the sideline is going to be a nice little charge for everybody too, because I think I told you last week that when they thought it was just the ankle and not the broken leg, everybody on the team apparently like made sure to go by and hug him and tell him they had his back and wish him luck. You got to be around it just to understand and listen to these guys to understand what he means to his boys and that team, and just just the love those guys have for each other. It's fun to see, and it is the kind of thing I think that carries you through the fourth quarters. So, all that being said, don't cry about don't let it get you emotional until I've gone now. I don't want to have to watch this, but we will definitely talk to you guys next week. If you are running into Tigers, I mean, I'll definitely be there this Saturday. Be checking out my old step cousin Gunnar Stockton down at Georgia. He is having a hell of a year. I think right now he's leading the SEC in QBR. He's only thrown one interception, and he is getting a reputation for kind of being the head of the snake. So Georgia's not this dominant team this year. They're this team that finds itself in trouble. And on the Joel Klatt show, he just refers to them as you just can't kill them. They refuse to die. They've been on the ropes, and they just will not. And Gunner will pull some pass out of his butt, and boom, we're Georgia by 3, and we're done here. Thanks for playing. So anyway, sorry, that was my Gunner Stockton plug. Really am gone this time. Love you guys. Appreciate you. Be sure to watch Monday Night Therapy with Minnie and Fred now, I believe. And then Minnie is on again with Greg on the 5 Heart on Thursdays. I think it's Thursdays at 9, Mondays at 8. I'm here every night, Tuesday at 7. And we'll see you guys next Tuesday. Now I'm going to act like I'm trying to be smooth about pushing the off button here. Good night, everybody.